Hey everyone, this is Sally Hayes, founder of Montracos, and we are here today with Jeanne Reilly, who is the founder of I Am Nurtured Prenatal Vitamins, and she's also a registered dietitian. Hey Jeannie, how are you?
Hey, Sally. I'm great. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for coming on. I can't wait to dive in today and to find out a little bit more about you and your company. So, why don't you tell us a little bit about your origin story, how this got started? You're a registered dietitian and you made a prenatal vitamin, so I'm sure there's something great there.
Yes. This, not surprising, this was like many small businesses born out of experience. I was a practicing registered dietitian for years before I became pregnant the first time. And going through that process, realized as I was digging in to my prenatal selection that there really were not high quality options out there. There are at this point maybe a couple of brands that I would recommend to my friends besides ours, but with my co-founder, we really set out to create something that we would be proud to recommend to our best friend. And the two of us had, my co-founder and I had our own struggles around pregnancy. He and his wife struggled for quite a while to conceive, and I had a rough time postpartum. And we got together and realized we had the information and the knowledge and the experience to create something really great to put out there and support parents in this wild process of growing your family.
That's so amazing. And I'm glad you talked about
Mhm.
that, about the quality, because there's so many prenatals on the market that, how do you know what to choose? So, can you tell us a few key indicators, what to look for in a prenatal vitamin and what it is that's in yours that makes it so special?
Yeah. Yeah, it is a very crowded space, and it's also an unregulated space, which makes it pretty scary for the consumer. Like the things on store shelves may seem safe because they're on store shelves. They may be safe, but that doesn't mean they're effective, right? So many brands will add an ingredient, but then put it in such a small amount that it's really not doing anything for you. Or in the wrong forms that are either not doing anything or potentially causing harm. One of the things that we're able to do as a small business is update our formulas based on the most current research. Like current research is now saying that choline, for example, is so important. Like everybody hears about folic acid during pregnancy, but choline is right up there with it. And the newest research is showing that double the RDA is most beneficial, which is not
Wow.
common. It's also a bulky nutrient. So a lot of formulas will just leave it out because it takes up so much space. And, those one a day gummies, you can't fit a whole lot in there. The really high quality competitors that I would probably say are on par with us are sometimes up to 8 capsules a day, which is a lot to take, right?
That is a
So,
lot today.
yes, things that you want to look out for in prenatals, like make sure that choline is in there, magnesium, all of your methylated vitamins. So we're talking about like methylated B vitamins, um, and chelated minerals. So selenium, iodine, iron, vitamin D, you want really high amounts. Like I go on, we have 24 ingredients in our prenatals. And I would say, honestly, like the longer that list, the better, but also only if it comes with the quantity that goes along with it, right? You don't want 24 ingredients with teeny amounts. You want something substantial. So if you see something with like 8 or 12 ingredients, it's probably not cutting it. Your body needs a lot of extra support during pregnancy and even more postpartum than during pregnancy.
That's a really good point. Two things I want to talk about. But the first,
Yeah.
I want to talk about this methylated vitamins. Like, what does that mean? I've
hmm
heard a lot about like folic acid, methylated folic. Like, what does that mean?
Yeah, methylated means it's bioavailable, and that means it is in the form that's like ready and usable for your body. For ingredients like folic acid, it has to go through many conversion steps in your body before it reaches that methylfolate form, which is the form that your body can actually use and absorb and put to work. So by the time, like I'm just going to throw out random numbers, by the time you consume, say, 100 milligrams of folic acid, By the time it reaches that methylated form, you may have only like 10 milligrams left usable. So there's a lot lost. And with folic acid in particular, there over 65% of the female population has this genetic mutation, MTHFR, that makes folic acid unusable. And because it's a synthetic form of folate. So when those people who have that genetic mutation consume folic acid, it actually just builds up in their system and builds up this byproduct called homocysteine, which causes systemic inflammation, and it's not good. So check your prenatal labels. If it has folic acid, toss it. Which is a bummer because I think like most doctors who unfortunately are not trained in nutrition are still recommending folic acid. It's old science. The science about methylated folate has been out there for many years now, and it's kind of like the medical system just kind of needs to catch up.
Right. And I love that you said that you keep up with the current research and
Hmm.
change your formulas. I think that's pretty uncommon for most
Yeah.
products. I mean, it's definitely an undertaking, to change everything. And because you are a small business, you're able to do that. But I think
Yes.
that's such a brilliant insight that everyone should really be doing.
Right. Well, it is, right? And because we produce in small batches, it makes us a little bit more agile in that department. But there's also like part of the reason we wanted to do this is because our credential as my co-founder is a registered dietitian also, like we want our credibility to come with like the very highest standards and to support rigorous science. Like we're not gonna just keep throwing ingredients in there that we know are either not effective anymore or need more to be effective. We hold ourselves to a very high standard.
I love that. And I think you should.
Yeah.
I think
Yes, agreed.
that should be the standard.
Yes, we're here to
Um,
take care of moms, in the best possible way we can.
yeah. Let's talk about heavy metals. Heavy metals
Mhm.
is something that is kind of a buzzword. Can you tell me a little bit about what that means and what that means for a supplement?
Yes. So a lot of, you have these sort of like citizen investigative people going out now and like taking their supplements and sending them off to labs and getting them tested. A lot of prenatals, a lot of vitamins across the board, but a lot of prenatals are coming back containing high levels of heavy metals, arsenic, lead, cadmium, mercury. Not a lot of brands will do any sort of third-party testing. So that's the first thing to look for is a brand that does third-party testing. And then specifically third-party testing on heavy metals, because that's the last thing you want to be consuming when you're trying to conceive a baby is heavy metals, especially in amounts that are like beyond safe levels, right? Like there's no safe level of consuming heavy metals. We know that. It's something that, it builds up in your body and it's very hard for your body to detox and excrete. So it's something to be aware of. It's something we are very transparent about. We do third-party test our supplements and we are clear of all of those heavy metals and are happy to share those results with anyone. And any brand, worth their weight is going to share those test results. So if you have questions, even if you don't want to try I Am Nurtured, you have another favorite that you're already using, contact the brand and just ask them for their heavy metal test results.
I think that should be transparent on every
Yes.
website.
Yes.
That just seems like a no-brainer.
Yes. There's a
Um,
lot of shoulds in this industry that kind of aren't happening.
It's true. It's true. And I feel like everyone's watching, influencers online and they're taking one bit of information and then kind of spreading it around. And like the game of telephone, it gets kind of translated differently. So I think
Yeah.
having that transparency for companies is absolutely vital.
Hmm.
So third-party testing, which is fantastic, keeping up with the current research, that's fantastic. Now, I know you have prenatals. Could you take a prenatal before pregnancy? And should you continue to take a prenatal in postpartum?
Yes, and yes. Your ovaries are actually developing follicles 8 to 9 months before they turn into those eggs. So it is important, like we recommend, start as far in advance as you can. That's not, for a lot of people, that's not always a reality, but that is also why, most doctors will say if you're of childbearing age, it's a good idea to take a prenatal, whether you're trying to conceive or not, just so you have that nutrient support on board if you happen to conceive. Um, so, it's really that 8 to 9 months before is when that follicle starts developing. Really, that 3 month mark before it turns into an egg is when it becomes a lot more sensitive to insults or deficiencies. So, like, really, that 3 months before you're going to start trying to conceive is like the time to stay away from secondhand smoke, avoid any other environmental toxins, alcohol, all that other stuff, and really work on kind of supercharging your nutrient stores so that you have everything on board you need when you do conceive. And then going into the postpartum phase, as I mentioned before, postpartum needs are even higher than during pregnancy. You think about what your body has gone through for the last 9, 10 months. Baby gets preferential treatment, right? They take everything they need and mom gets the leftovers. And then you go through birth, and then you're going through these sleepless nights and, just depleted in every way. And you need more to recover, especially if you're breastfeeding. You need even more to recover. So yes, we say continue taking prenatals at least as long as you're breastfeeding. If you're not breastfeeding, take them at least 6 months after you give birth. And then, I mean, I'm 5 years postpartum. I'm still taking ours because it is just a supercharged, um, fantastic multivitamin. As much as I am a food first dietitian and would love us all to get everything we need from our diet, it's not realistic in today's food culture. Like even people with the best diets are not getting the nutrients that they need because our soils are depleted. Our foods just don't contain the nutrient density that they did a generation ago. So I look at supplements as an insurance policy to help your body have everything it needs to take care of you, whether that's pregnancy, postpartum, or even helping prevent illness. When you are replete of vitamin D and all of these other antioxidants all of the time, you have a lot more resources on board to keep your body well.
I, I've never heard that before, but I really like taking vitamins as insurance. That really
Yeah.
makes sense. I firmly agree. I
Yes.
firmly agree. Like I'm definitely like a food first type person, like eat your
Hmm.
stuff, but also their supplements are there for a reason, and when they're
Hmm.
good, they're really, really good for you and they can support
Yes.
you from, especially if you're prone to getting run down or exhaustion, or if you're pregnant or postpartum, you're already on the edge of what a human can sustain. So support yourself
Hmm.
however you want. And I do love that you said to prep before you're trying to conceive. I'm such an advocate for prepping like before you
Yes.
try to conceive if you can. If you know that you want to have kids, then definitely like start prepping your body. So I love that
Yes.
you're talking about prenatals being outside of just pregnancy. I
Yes.
think most people don't think about that.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Now I know that you have a really special ingredient in there, ginger. And I love that you put that in. Can you talk about nausea and tolerating prenatal vitamins?
Yeah. Not everyone is sensitive to prenatals, but it seems the women that are sensitive to them are really like can't look at them, can't take them. It's a lot of nutrition in for us, three small capsules. And a lot of them include a lot of other prenatals out there include ingredients that are really, really tough on digestion, on top of, morning sickness or food aversions that women are already having. So for us, when we were formulating, it was very important that ours be tolerated well for even the women with the most sensitive stomachs. So we worked with a registered herbalist who helped us with our botanical blend, and which includes ginger, as you mentioned. It increases GI motility. It just kind of keeps things moving along and soothes any sort of nausea or, discomfort that women might get from taking a prenatal. We also, the things that make ours so well tolerated, are the forms of minerals that we use. So magnesium glycinate and the form of, we use iron bisglycinate chelate, which are forms that are very well tolerated, very gentle on your GI tract. Those two nutrients, iron and magnesium, tend to be the most upsetting and rough on stomachs. So we get feedback from our moms all the time that this is one of the only prenatals they have ever been able to tolerate, and it's because of those thoughtful inclusions and forms that we use.
I think that's such a great point. That's something that I've never thought about before, but
Mhm.
um just that you're a registered dietitian, you worked with an herbalist to make sure this was the best form it could possibly be, but also yeah, if you're nauseous and you're not keeping anything down, doesn't really matter what you're taking, does
Yeah,
it?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's great. I'm so excited about I Am Nurtured and that this prenatal is out there because I don't think I've heard anyone speak like this about supplements. And I know that it's very confusing for people to go out and try and figure out their supplement and what they should be taking, especially like if you just find out that you're pregnant and you're trying to navigate the whole thing anyway, right? It's a lot to deal with. So I really appreciate every piece that you've put in this. Thank you so much for talking to us today. Can you let people know where to find I Am Nurtured?
Yes, we are online at iamnurtured.com. You can also find us on social media. We're on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and our username is just I am nurtured. And I'm in the Austin area. My co-founder is in San Diego, so we're in some small retail around our local areas and hoping to spread more in the future. So hopefully you see us on some bigger store shelves soon. But right now we're primarily online.
Awesome. That's so good to know. I think everybody's shopping online anyway.
Yes.
I think that's where
Yep.
everybody is right
And
now.
let's be real, like mom brain, just hit that subscribe button because we forget.
It's true. It's true.
Yes,
It's true. And you can take these indefinitely, so you don't just take them for 9 or 10 months.
exactly. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jeannie. It's been a pleasure talking to you, and I can't wait to talk to you again soon.
Yes, thank you, Sally. Looking forward to it.